You may wonder why a video about radio begins here at a church. Well, it involves a church group, and it involves radio volunteers. The church group happens to be a Catholic church. I'm Catholic. I've been in my church choir for 27 years, and now I find that the volunteer organization I'm working with has been locked in a battle with an intransigent group. This is not a matter of good versus evil. It's a matter of sense versus nonsense, the willingness to negotiate versus being hard-headed, the practical versus the impractical, and the lack of concern for one organization for another. Here, outside my home parish of St. Albert the Great in Kettering, is a contrast between the two, because we have the church and the church group. And right up here is the sign for information radio. So how do these two organizations, the church, or is it the church, and a volunteer organization of radio enthusiasts come to that head? What we will find out is it is not the Catholic Church, but rather a group of zealous evangelical Catholics in the process of buying radio stations and forcing other stations to move. In this room at the St. Albert Great, this is in their renewal center, which is a meeting room area, is where the Holy Spirit Catholic Communications group meets. And I've met with them a couple of times when they first started. This is the area where the decision was made not to negotiate.
WULM are the call letters for the station operating on 1600 kilohertz from Springfield, Ohio. This is the station that Radio Maria wishes to purchase for their programming. WULM is part of Urban Light Ministries, also from Springfield, Ohio, and the station is headed up by Reverend Eli Williams, a former radio broadcaster. Since he has been in radio for many years, he knew that the coverage of WULM into the Dayton area would be marginal and had no problem in issuing a letter of exemption which gave Information Radio the permission to be licensed on 1610 kilohertz by the Federal Communications Commission. But now he's being pressured by Radio Maria to revoke his letter in order to sell the station. That is something Radio Maria could do just as easily after they buy the station. Holy Spirit Catholic Communications was recognized by Archbishop Pilarczyk as a lay group of the faithful without juridic personality. This basically means that while the bishop recognizes the group, they are not sponsored by nor speak for the bishop nor the diocese. They are acting completely on their own. According to their webpage, Radio Maria was born as a parish radio in 1983 in the Diocese of Milan, Italy. In 1987, the Radio Maria Association was formed by laymen and priests hoping to give Radio Maria independence from the parish and a larger scale in its commitment of evangelization. Because of the stated aims of Radio Maria, that being to be independent of the parishes and the diocese, may be why Archbishop Pilarczyk decided to keep both Holy Spirit and Radio Maria at an arm's length. Emergency Operations Center Incorporated is the parent organization for Information Radio. There is no paid staff, and it's an all-volunteer 501c3 charitable organization. Volunteers consist of technicians, readers, sportscasters, and editors. The purpose of Information Radio is to air public service type announcements that would otherwise not receive any coverage on the commercial radio or television stations. Additionally, the station is designed to disseminate emergency weather and other hazard warnings as they are broadcast from the National Weather Service. The station also maintains a van which can be taken to the site of any ongoing disaster or emergency in order to broadcast immediate messages to the public. Information radio's transmitter is all of 10 watts, with an antenna standing approximately 30 feet in height. It is hard to imagine that a station operating at 1/100th the power of WULM would be any cause of interference. There is a small recording studio in the basement of the radio station's offices, which is shared with another business that actually makes money. Among some of the places utilizing the services of Information Radio to get the word out on their programs include Five Rivers Metro Parks, Montgomery County, City of Beaver Creek, City of Centerville, City of Dayton, City of Kettering, City of Moraine, and the City of Riverside. Others include the Air Force Museum, Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra, Dayton History, and many, many others. All of the aforementioned organizations have been able to get their word out to thousands of people with no cost to their budgets because of Information Radio.
Well, let's take a little practical test, one that apparently wasn't done when the group from Radio Maria made their test. We're going to take a little ride around Dayton, see how well this 1,000-watt station from Springfield can be heard in the greater Dayton area. Well, here it is. It's November, and it's 20 minutes after 4 in the afternoon, so sunset's not for another hour or so. And to get an idea on what 1600 sounds like here in the Dayton area, which happens to be Kettering where I am at right now, this is how you will hear it at night. It sounds like this. Not exactly pleasant radio listening. Well, here we are near the downtown Dayton area, and here's one of the problems with AM radio. I'm currently listening to 1600, and I'll turn it up in a minute. Remember, 1600 is in Springfield, and we are in Dayton. This is the area that Radio Maria wants to cover. We'll go just a tad bit further here, but I think you get the idea that with the trolley buses and the electrical wires and whatnot in the Dayton area, listening to a station from Springfield is pretty difficult to do. How about if you're right behind a trolley bus? There's what you get. Okay, we're on 1600. East 3rd Street and Springfield Street. Maybe if downtown it wasn't a fair test. This is in the East Dayton neighborhoods, closest part of Dayton to Springfield. That's not what you swore already. Here we are at Dorothy Lane in Wilmington, only blocks away from the 1610 transmitter. I don't know. It's one of the few spots you can actually hear 1600, other than power line noise, fairly well. No interference from 1610 though, and we're only blocks from the transmitter. Okay, so I present my case. Whether 1610 is on that frequency will make no difference as to how well or how poorly 1600 can be heard in the Dayton area. Basically, this is a brutal effort that will cost our organization money and will gain nothing for the coverage of 1600 in Dayton. But I guess we must go.
Representatives of Holy Spirit Catholic Communications have told us on at least 2 occasions that God has given them the opportunity to serve Dayton Catholics through the purchase of the station in Springfield. But is that what God really wants? Since he can do anything, if he wanted these 2 organizations to serve the people of Dayton, he surely would have provided a radio station that could be heard in Dayton. He didn't do that, so it sounds like it's a rule of man rather than a rule of God. I also asked representatives of Holy Spirit Catholic Communications how they thought Jesus would handle this particular situation, and no one was able to give me an answer. If someone in Dayton is looking for God through Radio Maria and Holy Spirit Catholic Communications, they may just be looking in the wrong place. Perhaps they should look to their local parish family. Now, if you're viewing this video from YouTube, Google Videos, or any of the other video search engines, be sure to visit our website with a detailed explanation on what you have just seen. Our website is www.1610.info. Thank you for taking the time to listen and understand our point of view.